What was the takeaway from that game?
You know, we've been guarding the three-point line fairly well. They got really hot, but after watching the tape, I thought there was a lot of opportunities we could have played better defense. I thought, you know, we've been pretty good. If we have a turnover, our transition defense after a turnover, I think they turned almost all of our turnovers into baskets. They capitalize on that. So our turnover defense has to be better when we do turn it over. So I thought those were. I mean, guarding that three-point line. I mean, they hit 9 threes, and I thought a number of them we could have been better on. And I think we all felt that way after watching the tape. And you got to give them credit. They really shooting it well. They have a great inside-out threat. And but you got to if you're going to win at Baylor in that scenario, the way they played, you got to play really well. You got to be on it. And we didn't play really well in a lot of areas. And those are the ones we noticed the most. Was we could have guarded that three-point line better meaning switches. We messed up a couple switches, transition defense, and a turnover. Offensive rebound, kick out for a three, and I think they really, I mean, it was 20-20, and they hit 3 threes in like 60 seconds, and all of a sudden it was a 9-point lead just like that.
Too early to know about Waldo and John?
Yeah, a little too early. We'll know a little bit more later today.
Going back to John, when did that all happen? Was it been accumulating?
It was an Oklahoma State game.
It was Bedlam.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have you seen in prep this week from some of the other guys, Luke, Mox, Caden, that give you confidence that they'll be ready to step in?
Yeah, so, yesterday we gave them Wednesday off. It's our mandatory day off and much needed. But yesterday, Mox has got to be ready, Caden's got to be ready, Luke's got to be ready. We're going to have some different guys in there, and that's what opportunity, to step up. There's always been scenarios, man. One man goes down, next man up. And now we got 2 men down, so we have to have a couple guys step up, and other guys. I mean, it's sports. That happens in sports when you lose guys, and I really feel that you're going to see Mox a little bit more. We really haven't seen him a lot since the preseason. Caden Cooper to be ready for him, and Luke to be in there, and heck, Yaya Keita. If Yaya gets in there, all hands on deck. That's what I told everybody. All hands on deck.
Is the fact that, at least with Waldo and John, you're still evaluating a sign that this is relatively shorter term than anything major with either of them?
Yeah, I believe it's. I'd like to think it's shorter term. That's what I believe on both of them. But we'll have to wait and see with John what it is. But right now, there's no indication that it's season ending for either one of them.
And you've rolled this season primarily with your 8 guys. A lot of programs across the country are not thinner rotations, but not going as deep. Do you think in this era, portal, guys moving around, not being in programs for multiple years has made it harder to build a deeper rotation?
I don't know. I haven't done a deep dive in that, whether the portal's about not having a rotation. I don't know, to answer your question on that. I know that like Kansas was down McCullough these last 2 games, and I know that, but then now he's back. They're back at full strength. So it happens, and you got to adjust. Different guys, different spots, different scenarios and situations when you're used to this guy taking the ball out of bounds during a press, or and there's a lot of little things we were talking about the last 24 hours about with new personnel in the mix. When we've been fairly blessed this whole year of rolling with those 8 guys, and now it's these last game and tonight there's going to be scenarios. But with that, just like in any adversity of anything, it's opportunity. It's opportunity for someone to come in and step up, someone that's already playing to step up, and that's what we got to have.
Well, you mentioned that last part of it. I know you're talking about guys deeper in the bench that maybe need to step up, but how much do the veterans, the guys that have been seeing the floor a lot, need to step up? So
the same guys that started in Lawrence are going to start tomorrow, with Jalen Moore, Sam, Ortega, Javian, and Los. And they started in Norman. And we had our moments in Norman where we were right there. We actually took the lead in the second half. So these guys have played them. They know they're one of the best teams in the country. But it's not like they haven't played them or it's going to be all new to them. So those guys that have played in this game, we're for sure counting on a lot to play well.
Okay, the struggles on the road. How much do you guys talk about making the first punch the key in this thing out of the gate?
It's more been about, for sure for us, and that it's been about saying they struggle, because obviously last game without McCullough, and everybody in there He's probably not been on that kind of a side before because he's one of the best coaches that we've had in our profession. But sometimes it can snowball. So I don't look at it like they don't play well on the road. I mean, they've lost a couple on the road, but it wasn't like, I mean, it's hard to win on the road in this league. It's hard to win when you're getting teams' best shots on the road. And so we look at more of what do we have to do to win? What do we have to do to win more than focusing on the past with that? What we have to win tomorrow is, they do an outstanding job offensively of picking you apart. The interior, with Hunter down there, KJ, McCullers back. He really hurt us up. I think Furphy's playing great. Elite offensive rebounder. We got to control the glass. So we're more thinking about not the past with them it's more of what do we have to do tomorrow to win the game.
How big will Sam's effort be tomorrow?
Been big. Sam's got to be big. I mean, I know. I remember he came out as sore as he'd been all year, banging up against Hunter in that game, but it's part of it. And I think our guys are really looking for the challenge. I felt like they did some really good things in Lawrence, but they didn't do enough. And it was a little bit of them, a little bit of things we could have done better, and I just feel like we could have done more. And they think they feel like it. There's a huge respect for their program and the players they have on that team, but there's an edge that I think they have, knowing that the opportunity we have.
When you look at the teams that have beat Kansas this year, is there a common theme, things that they were able to do successfully to beat the Jayhawks?
I think it's been a little bit different each time. I don't think there's one recipe. I mean, you've got to play really well. You're not going to do it if you don't play really well. You got to make some shots. You got to rebound. They take care of the ball so well that you better take care of the ball. And we had a bunch of turnovers there in Lawrence to start. They had 2 the whole game. So they're going to take care of the ball. So there's no one recipe. It's just they make you play your best, and you got to play your best.
Porter, you mentioned Mox as someone who might be called upon, even though he hasn't played a lot during the season. What have you seen from his development, and just how do you kind of preach staying ready to someone who hasn't been on the rotation regularly?
The one thing about Mox is he is older. He's played a lot of games. So that's the one benefit is he's an older young man. And what also I think has been good for Mox is he's kept his mind right. He's absolutely in practice every day. Of course he wants to play, and he just hasn't had his number called. With Javian and Los staying healthy and those guys doing really well. But in practice, our guys got confidence in him. He runs the gold team a lot in practice. He does a lot of good things, and he's older. So, for him, I think he's excited about this opportunity.
Billy Tubbs was an integral part of building, this program. Billy Ball is, still relevant. How you're honoring him tomorrow? How important is that?
I think it's awesome. I think I'm a big part of your past creates your future. And I was in college when Billy Ball was going on. I was in college when they went to the national championship against Kansas. I was in college watching the fastest team I had seen at that point play. And and then I got to know him, coaching against him when he was at TCU and everything, when I was at Texas A&M and in my profession. And he's a for sure Hall of Famer. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. His impact on a storied program is profound, of what Billy Tubbs was synonymous with Oklahoma basketball, especially when I was coming up. And I love we're honoring him. There's a ton of former players coming back. It's apropos that it's Kansas. I know they played in the national championship game. And for everybody around, it's a great night to honor a legend, a for sure should be Hall of Fame coach in Billy Tubbs.